Hey everybody, Poker Dad here. I'm going to be doing a 2 hour study session today in preparation for a 4 hour play session today. Um, the hands I'm looking at today, I decided to filter um, uh, hands that I check in position on the turn. And I want to see um, which hands that I checked maybe I could have thrown out an under bet on. Now, in addition, of course, I'll be looking at each hand as well and analyzing and just studying each hand and if I could have played it differently, or like even what kind of different options I could have done, and just look at the whole entire big picture of each hand. But those are the hands I filtered out for today. 1 second, I just want to set my timer for 2 hours so I make sure I get it in a full 2 hour study session. Okay, I have started my timer. So here we go. So I brought up my reports tab here, and I am going to say replay all hands in the report. And I have sorted it by hole cards. And I have Flopzilla open, and I'll bring it on screen when needed. And whatever other programs that we may need for this this study session. I would use a program like Poker Snowie, but for whatever reason, Poker Snowie, well, first of all, how many hands we have here? 602 hands, so I only have the cheap version of Poker Snowie. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but Poker Snowie skips a lot of my hands. So that's why I think I will not be investing in Poker Snowie again once my subscription runs out. I'll look into maybe some other programs that are similar to Poker Snowie. So anyway, I'm going to leave everything in big blinds here because big blinds for this is more relevant, considering there can be plenty of different stakes that are involved here. So anyway, let's get started. See how many hands we can take a look at. So here we have ace ace in the cutoff, and we raise it up 3 big blinds, and we get called by the button, and we go 3 ways to the flop. So here we have a two-tone board with 2 hearts. So let's see what happens here with the action. He checks to us here, so this, I believe, what I would like to see myself do here, with it being a two-tone board, is bet roughly 66% of the pot, so 9.5, 0.66, so about 6.27 big blinds. Let's see what we do here. So I bet half pot here, which actually half pot is fine too. Actually, I shouldn't, actually, from my research last night in terms of from underbetting, really half pot here still is the right play. You could also bet a little more for anybody who might be chasing draws as well, but really half pot here is the right play. So that's okay. We get one fold, because if somebody doesn't have anything, good chances are they're going to fold anyway. But we do get a call here from the big blind. And that draw does come in, but if we take a look here, I have an ace of hearts here, so that is actually really helpful because I am blocking all of those nut flush draws, which really blocks a lot of potential flushes that he could have here. I have ace king, ace queen is blocked, obviously all these aces, and the nice thing is king queen suited is blocked too. So let's just take a look and see what my equity is here. So let's just go back to the pre-flop, and I'm just going to put in what my range would be, big blind versus a cutoff open. So big blind versus cutoff open. Let me take away hands that I would have here as a 3-bet. I mean, obviously, people aren't playing like me, but it's the best way for me to do this, especially when I don't have any stats on a particular player. Some hands I may have stats, I can work on that differently, but for the most part, I'm not going to have stats on players. I'll leave these types of hands in here. I mean, let's see, what was his stack size? We can determine if he's a recreational player or not. Well, he has 100 big blinds, so we won't. Well, we'll say for an argument's sake that he's not a recreational player. So we'll take away these hands. So we'll give him this particular range here, and I have ace of clubs, ace of hearts, ace of clubs, ace of hearts, and the board on the flop is 10 clubs, 5 hearts, queen hearts. So 10 clubs, 5 hearts, and queen heart. And then let's figure out with a half pot bet what kind of hands is he calling with here. He's calling with a set. He may raise a set, but he can definitely call it a set as well. 2 pairs, king 10 offsuit. Definitely could be calling with that. A over pair, he has none. Top pair, definitely he can be calling with here. And pocket pair, middle pair can be calling. Weak pair, we'll leave weak pair out for now. Flush draw, open-ended straight draw, gut shots, all can be calling here. This is only 40% of his range. So let's give him weak pairs also. So at least we have him now calling 70% of his range, which I think is about normal. Okay, so here we have 70% of his range. This is what it looks like. Our equity here is 75%. So now let's put in that king of hearts here. So now we put in the king of hearts. So let's see. So he checks. So now let's think logically about this here. Is he ever going to be even checking a flush? It's unlikely, because sure he could definitely be checking. I mean, he could technically check a flush out of position, and looking for a check raise, since I was the pre-flop and since I see bet. So for that purpose, I think actually we can say that he would check his entire range here. So we can keep really everything in here. We'll just make 100%. So our equity here is still, versus range, 73%. Because one thing that we did do here is we eliminated a lot of those kings that he had. He had a ton of king flush draws that he does not have anymore now that the king of hearts has come out. In fact, he does not have many flushes at all. Only 9% of his range has flushes here. So this is a spot that I definitely will want to bet here. I want to continue to have the initiative. Now, I could do a couple of things here. I am drawing to the nut flush draw, which gives me an opportunity to possibly overbet here. Maybe throw out 30 big blind bet. I can do that, definitely. I can throw out, and I kind of like that, actually, maybe throwing out an overbet here, because if I throw out an overbet here, I can still get value if another heart hits out. I can still improve to the nuts. And I still do have a really good hand as well, as I have 73% equity. I could also just throw out a standard C-bet. A standard C-bet would be fine too. I don't mind it if he has a heart and another heart comes out, because then I could win a big pot. I can even throw out an underbet here. I can throw out an underbet because of the flush draw being out there, but I still have great equity. So I have lots of options here. There's only one option that I don't have, and that is I should not be checking here. Now, as we know, because I set up the filter, I check in position, as you can see. So I believe that the check here was poor. Now, I'm sure I know my thinking then. This was 4-0. My thinking here probably was, if I bet, he will only call me with better. And I don't think that's true. Because let's say he still calls me with 70% of his range. Okay, I'm just going to X all these off here for a second. Let's say he's playing an optimal strategy, which he may not be, but let's say he is. Okay, and let's say he's got his flushes here that he would call with, or raise, of course. Straight, set, 2 pairs, and his top pairs. So let's say he'll call with all of that, and he'll also call with some draws. Call with the second nut flush, the third nut flush, maybe some weak flush draws. Well, let's give him an open ender. Let's say he would call with gut shots and flush draws, weak flush draws. Okay, so let's say he'll even call with 74% of his range. Now let's take the weak flush draws out. All right, so 64% of his range. Our equity here is still 62%. We're still beating a ton of hands here. You know, what hands are we beating? We're beating King 9 suited, Queen 9 suited, Jack 8 suited, 9 8 suited, Jack 10. So you see, we're beating a good amount of his range. So checking here really doesn't serve much purpose. We have the equity to make this bet. In fact, we could take the pot down right here with a bet. So checking really accomplishes nothing. So let me just put this back to 100% for the sake of this particular hand. Okay. So we do check back, of course. And a 10 comes out. Well, let's think about this 10. And let's think about the fact that he bet here. He bet on the flop. I mean, he called on the flop. Well, we know, of course, he could have a flush. He could have a hand like Queen 10, 2 pair, that now hit a full house. That was a hand that could have beat us. He could have also had Ace 10, less likely, But there was still, at the time, 4 combos of ace-10 available to him. Now he's got 3 tens. So think about that. Let's say he has ace-10. If I would have bet the flop, especially if I would have overbet the flop, there's a very good chance that he would have folded. And now we gave him a free card, and he gets another 10, and he gets ace-10 here. Of course, he could have set of fives that was looking to check raise. So there is stuff here that can beat us. The truth is, this 10 is pretty bad because now there are so many more hands that we lose to. So let's just take a quick look before we even see what the action is. This is a 10 of spades. What hands is he going to bet with here? Look at this. Quads. He doesn't have quads. So he's got all these full houses. Look how many full houses he has. 5-5, Queen 10, and King 10 too. He's got a ton of flushes that are definitely going to bet here. Straight. And 3 of a kind. The sets. Well, these are 3 of a kind, not sets. We'll bet here. So, over pairs he has none. 2 pairs he has none. And he's got some top pairs. So let's just say, for the fun of it, because he's like, I got 2 pair because I have king, that he bets. And let's say this is all that he would bet with. Well, my equity is now 27%. So, this makes it very difficult for me. It puts me in a really difficult spot. And I'm in this spot because I check the turn. So, let's just think of it this way. If I would have bet the turn, okay, let's say he raises. I can fold. I can fold at that point. Because I can say, well, he could have a flush. He could easily have 2 pair. He could have a set. I'm beat. And I could just fold it up. Makes it even more, interesting to do an underbet here. The underbet is really more for information. So it's more for a reason why I think I like the underbet here than the overbet. Again, could do either or though. Could definitely overbet it as well. But even if I overbet it, we're going to have a good idea of where we are on this river. Because I've checked here, it puts us in a really difficult position. And we gave him a free card. And the only way we can call is if he bets small. And I don't even think we can bet here. We have to check back if he does check to us again. Because the chances of him calling us, I mean, there is a chance, of course, he can call us with a pair of kings. He does have, that would be top pair. So we could, but it would have to be a small bet. It would need to be a small bet, a half pot bet at best. So let's see what happens here. So he does check to us here. So we got 2 options. One is to, of course, bet, and the other one is, of course, to check back. So this is actually a spot here. I am going to open up Poker Snowie. And I am actually curious what Poker Snowie would say here. So I can actually export this hand. Well, let's see what happens, and then we will take a look at Poker Snowie. So this is the thing I'm okay using Poker Snowie for, is if I want to export one hand and really break down one hand. See, I don't like this bet sizing at all. I don't like the pot size bet here because now he's definitely only going to call us with better. I would rather see at most a half pot bet here. Again, we could even underbet it and just get some kind of value from, get him to call with his kings. Get him to call with a pair of kings. Even a pair of queens can call. So I don't like the way this was played. He does call it, and he shows us a flush. So I definitely think an underbet would have been the right play here, and we end up losing this hand. He did, as I thought he could, he would have check raised. So again, checking the turn, not a good play, because even if we just say underbet the turn, if he raises it here, we can fold. And then I made it worse by then betting pot on the river. So let's just see. I'm going to throw this hand into our buddy Snowy. Export hand history. Ace. Let me throw up Snowy here. And it failed. Yeah, sometimes it just does not work for me. That's why it's annoying. Alright, well, I can recreate this hand. That's what I'll do. We can just recreate this scenario. Let me move this over real quick. Go old school. It's the beautiful thing about it. We can recreate this scenario. So new scenario. The good thing is here, stack sizes really aren't relevant to this hand. We'll make it $1, $2. I'll just convert it. It's not a big deal. And let's see. Buttons here. And this is me. So the flop. So I have ace and ace of hearts. And again, stack sizes are irrelevant here. So I think we should be good here. Yeah. Alright, so we get a fold, and then I bet 3 big blinds, so we'll make this 6, which is worth 3 blinds, 3 big blinds. And this guy calls, and this guy folds, and this guy of course calls. And now the board is 10 of clubs, 5 of hearts, and queen of hearts. Okay. So the first player checks. So he checked with a flush draw, by the way, but it's a multi-way pot, so that's normal. I was the pre-flop aggressor, so makes sense. I threw out a half pot bet here, which is what I like. That's okay. Snowy says that I should check here. That I don't like, because I'm potentially giving a free card. I want to be the aggressor here, so I don't agree with what Snowy says here about checking. Half pot is what I'd rather do. I think that's the right play. So I could bet half pot here. We get the fold from this guy. And we get the call from this guy. So now you can make the argument here that if I don't bet half pot and I bet a little bit bigger, we may get this guy to fold out his draw. And that's kind of what I've been doing recently. Is I have been betting bigger on monotone boards in multi-way pots to kind of get rid of anybody who might be chasing a draw. But on the other hand, you can make money from people who chase a draw if they don't hit their draw. You know, just wanted to show you that. Let's just take all this away. This guy's range that we had for him. Well, I kept these hands in there, but that's fine. If we take a look, all right, let's take away. Hang on, let's take away the 10 of spades and the king of hearts. Well, actually, we don't want to just take away all the stuff here. So this particular range, if you see here, will make a flush less than 1% of the time. Now I don't know how to project that on the turn. I'm not sure how to project that on the turn. But anyway, that's a reason for me to bet bigger here, is because of the fact that to deny his draws. But again, we can also get get value from somebody who's chasing a draw and then doesn't hit that draw in the turn. So that's another reason to bet this size. He calls, of course. And the king of hearts comes out. And he checks, which is the right play. So I feel like this guy was definitely reg. And Snowy says for us to bet here. So there you go. I agree. Definitely should have bet here. And look, it's looking for an underbet, as you can see. Underbet or a half pot bet is the highest EV play. So, and again, we underbet it here. More than likely, he's going to raise us. And when he raises us, we can fold. So I just want to even just look at this scenario real quick, okay? Let's say we bet quarter pot. Now let's say he raises. I want to see if Snowy says we should fold. No, interestingly enough, Snowy still wants us to call. Well, I could understand that, okay? Because Snowy wants us to call here, because we still do have the nut flush draw if another heart comes out. So let's call it. And now the 10 of spades comes out. Now, he has a flush, so he's definitely going to bet here. Most times he would bet. Although we know that he checked. But now he has the initiative because he raised. So, under this scenario, let's say he bets 2/3 pot. 2/3. So he bets 50. Snowy says we should fold. Okay. Now, I think I can do this. Right, okay, so now let's say he checks. Snowy says check back. So Snowy agrees here that I need to bet that turn. So checking that turn was definitely a mistake. Now, there's one other thing I want to see is, I know I'm going to run out of scenarios this way. I mean, Snowy is good, I mean, I guess, but if I could find a cheaper alternative, that would be nice too. Let's say he raises bigger. Okay, let's say he doesn't go standard size. Let's say he raises 3x. I'm curious if I still am calling this. Yeah, so we're still calling it. Okay. So call. 10 of spades. He bets, let's say half pot. We're still folding. Anything else, me minus EV. All right, so I think that was interesting. Definitely a reason to bet that turn. We don't want to fold the turn because we get so much more information, especially when he raises. We get so much more information. We know he has a flush. We call it because we still have that one more out to be able to grab it, be able to grab the nut flush, which is why that would be the most optimal play. Plus, you know, we have enough equity there. We still have enough equity, I believe. So let's just see. I just want to see something. That King of Hearts comes out. And he goes check. So let's just, I just want to use a scenario where I bet and he raises. And he's raising. We can put him on 2 pair or better. So look at that. 2 pair or better, we still have 31% equity. All right. And if he bets, hang on. So let's say even he raised it here. All right. Let's just say this is the scenario. My bet is, I'm just going to use the scenario I just used. I think I can go to my other scenarios too. So I bet 9.5 and he raised it to 28.5 and the total pot is 47.5. So my pot odds here are 28% and my equity is 31%. So definitely I can call this even with a larger bet. On the other scenario, it's even better. When he bets 19, total pot is still 47.5. I get 16% pot odds, so definitely calling it. But now the good news is I have a much better idea of what he has because he raised it. I know he's got 2 pair or better. And then when a heart doesn't come out on the river, 10 of spades comes out, we know we're done. We're done. But because I didn't do that, I didn't have enough information. I didn't know where he was, and I threw out that pot size bet. And of course, he calls me a better. So, very interesting. Took 35 minutes to look at one hand. But, you know, it makes a lot of sense. Let's take a look at another one. So let's not harp on ace ace. We'll try and bounce around different. What happened? Try and bounce around different hands. Let's see. Let's take a look at this one. Here we have ace king offsuit. And we are in the cutoff. And we raised up 2.4 big blinds, which I'm not doing anymore. And we get 3-bet here by the small blind. Just a 2x 3-bet, so really small. This is fast fold poker, so we don't have any reads. And L5. And at least he raises it. So, could be reggish, but it's such a small raise. You know, you want to at least do 4x there. And I, of course, am going to 4-bet him. I don't like my sizing for the 4-bet. He did 4.8. I want to do 2.2. No, okay, that's fine. I'm sorry. 2.2, that's fine. That sizing is perfectly fine. And he calls me. So he calls me. Let me just come up with a range real quick for him. And I'm going to use what we know of the player pool through the stats I have accumulated through 9,000 hands approximately. I'm not sure if that includes, I assume that includes all fast fold poker. So I have that the small blind has a 6% 3-bet range. Now, I could go deeper here. Whoops. Let's see. I don't think I have a calling 4-bet stat or folding. It's a 4-bet stat. I don't. I should add a fold to 4-bet stat just so I have an idea for the population reads on fast fold poker. But let's just say, let's see, what's the range here? So this is the range here, right? So let's just say that hands that would go all in would be ace, ace, and king, king. And let's just say, hypothetically, that he would call a 4-bet on all these other hands. We could take out 9, 9, 8, 8. Let's take out 9, 9, 8, 8. All right, fine. We'll take out 9, 9, 8, 8, and we'll say that this is his calling range for a 4-bet. And we have ace of diamonds, king of spades. Ace of diamonds, king of spades. So we have 56% equity versus range. And we get a monotone board, jack a3 of diamonds. So this favors us. We have 64% equity. We have a bunch of outs. One more diamond gives us enough flush draw. We also have a backdoor straight draw if a 10 and a queen comes out. So we got, this is pretty great for us here. We don't expect him to have a set of 8s. He could have a set of jacks, but again, we can approve and beat his set of jacks. And we don't expect him to have a set of 3s. And we don't expect him to have any 2-pair. So pretty good board for us here. Definitely a board that we're going to want to see bet. He checks to us, and I would like to see myself throw out here a... Doesn't have to be a big bet here. Being that it's a 4-bet pot, we're both deep here. So this is not an SPR pot. It's a 7 SPR, so we don't have to get it all in. I like a half pot bet here. And that's what we do. And he calls it. So obviously the number of hands is going to be kind of limited here. The player population, that's what we'll go on. Folds to c-bets 53% of the time. That's a lot. That's a lot that they fold to c-bets. So you think about that from the small blind. It means they're check folding a ton. So with that being said, what 48% of hands is he calling with here? Let's just get rid of all this. So his flush, he only has one flush, king, queen suited. So we're definitely not worried about that. And we're not worried about that because, you know, again, of course, he could always be looking to check call, but he would check raise a flush. But we'll leave it in his calling range for now anyway, because maybe he wants to slow play it. Same thing with a set. You know, again, these are hands you would mostly use, you know, check raise it. But let's say maybe he's going to be... Let's say maybe he's going to be slow playing it. So over pairs. And let's see. He's got the second nut flush. Obviously, can't have the nut flush. 31. 38. 45. Top pair. All right, let's let him stick around with top pair too. So a little bit more than what I had stated, but okay. So let's say this is his range that he called with. We still got 52% equity here. Still in pretty good shape. Seven of spades comes out. Our hand does not improve here. Thing is, his hand doesn't improve either. So, because of that, and because of the fact that he only has one combo that he could have a flush with, king, queen suited, we're blocking the ace of diamonds. So we're blocking the nut flush draw from him. We're blocking the nut flush from him. Could he have ace king? I mean, you could definitely have ace king with the king of diamonds. If he checks here, though, double barreling is the right play. So he checks here. I think I need to double barrel here. Again, we are drawing to the nuts. This is a situation with the monotone board, and the fact that he didn't raise it, I feel like his range is capped. His range is capped at a set. A set of jacks, I believe, is the best he could have here. So, with me drawing to the nuts, I would like to see me overbet here. Maybe 50 or 60 big blinds. I can get the nut flush, and I believe we would get him to fold his set of jacks by doing that. But as we know, I check back. So I don't like that. Because now, we've now capped our range. Now he knows we don't have a flush. Now he knows his set of jacks is winning. So, what can happen here is, if a non-diamond comes out, he could bet, or he can check raise, knowing he has me beat. So by not betting on and not continuing to have the initiative on the turn, I have capped my range, and I have told him I don't have a flush, because if I had a flush, I'm definitely betting on the turn. So, bad job with this check here. And let's just put the 7 in here. Again, there is a chance he could still have a flush, but it's such a small chance. And again, really feel like he would have raised with the second nut flush on the flop. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna keep it in this range, but so again, let's do 100%, because let's say he would check with 100% of his range out of position. But you see here what happened. The big problem with that check is the fact that we completely capped our range. Especially here, where that would just be a bluff. So now, if the river comes out and we brick, we have no way to win this hand. That was a way to win this hand. And we've lost that opportunity. Now, we have to get a diamond to win this hand. If not, we've lost. And there is the brick for us. And for him, now, if he has, let's keep in mind he could have queens here now too. But he knows now. Now, the queen, of course, is going to make him a little nervous, so he may check here if he did have jacks. So he doesn't love the queen, unless he has queens. Then, of course, he's giddy about it, because he knows at this point he won his hand, because he knows that I don't have a flush. So the queen makes him a little bit nervous. So this is an interesting situation. Let's see what happens. He bets. So he bets half pot. And he can easily bet half pot knowing I don't have a flush. And pretty much knowing that I probably completely missed this board. And obviously now my only option here is to fold. So I lost my opportunity to win this hand. If I bet turn, if I bet flop and I bet river, if I bet flop and I bet turn, I can win this hand, especially if I overbet turn, drawing to the nuts. I, of course, definitely have to fold that hand. There's no reason for me to call it. And just for the fun of it, we'll see what he had. And he had 6-6. Well, think about this. He had 6-6. And I'm going to throw this one to Snowy again, too, because I want to see, again, what Snowy says, what I should be doing on that turn. And I'm curious if Snowy's going to say I should bet over pot. If I bet over pot here, on that turn, he's not calling me with a pair of sixes. There's no way. There's no way. Now, let's say he calls me and he checks again, and I blanked. Well, he didn't raise me, So he doesn't have a flush. We know he doesn't have a flush. Because if I overbet anything, he's still going to raise me if he has a flush. So you want to say, okay, this could be a spot for an underbet again. I feel like in this spot here, an overbet is better, unlike the previous hand. But again, a check is the worst play because a check is capping my range. And now he knows with his 6. Look, was betting a pair of 6s the best play for him? No. I don't think it was, because I could have easily had him beat with ace-jack, something like that. And ace-jack, he could think I would check back on the turn. Now, I don't think I would. I think I would definitely still bet there. Again, not to cap my range with that monotone board. His range was capped. We knew he didn't have a flush. So let's take a look again. Hopefully this time the import works. And let's see. Hopefully the import works this time. If not, we'll do what we did last time. Come on. Work, damn it. Work. It's one hand. It shouldn't take this long. Hey, it worked. Great. Miracles do happen sometimes. Yeah, no shock. So let's see. Forget about pre-flop. What do they want me to do? Call? Yeah, I'm not calling. So flop is fine. Here. There you go. Got to bet. Got to bet. 16.58 EV compared to, of course, these EV amounts are, actually no, yeah, this is big blinds. So 16.58 EV compared to 12.08. Betting half pot is what they said. So actually underbetting would be less EV and betting. So half pot. Fine, whatever, because that gives me an initiative. No matter what, at that point, it gives me the initiative, continuing the initiative that I had on the flop. I don't think 6s are, unless this player is really bad. Which I don't think he is. I don't think 6. Well, you can say he's bad because what happened here? I raised. He 3-bet me. He called a 4-bet with a pair of 6s. That is pretty bad, actually. But that's not the point. Definitely got to bet here. Bet here. It does not cap my range. And you know what? If he's a thinking player, he knows. Yeah, my 6s are good. Or my 6s. I mean, he also could turn his 6s into a bluff. Pair of queens, pair of jacks. So, yeah. Cool stuff. I like this. This is eye-opening stuff. I love it. I'm going to pause the video for a second because I'm a little bit cold. I'm going to get a sweater. Just to mess around with this, I want to see. I don't know. I can't. I'm curious. Ace of Diamonds, King of Spades. What else would I? What else would I 4-bet here? Let me just see my 4 betting range real quick. He uh, he 3-bet me. Let's just see. I just want to see something. I'm in position versus 3-bet, and I am in the cutoff. 10-10. I'm just curious. Let's say I have 10-10. I'm curious to see if I have 10-10 on this board with no diamond. Whoops, I screwed that up. I messed that up. I guess I can't. Oh, I can. So let's say I 4-bet him with 10-10 and no diamond. He checks. I'm supposed to check back there. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you know, it makes sense here, I guess, to check back second pair. Let me just see something here. Let me put in this particular cutoff hands I would 4-bet. Hang on a sec. I got to get my... I forgot my color coding for this. You remember I made a video about this. Hang on. First 3-bet. Oh, my pink and green hands. Pink and green. So these are my hands that I'm 4-betting. Okay. The board. Let me move this over here for a second. The board is Jack of Diamonds, 8 of Diamonds, and 3 of Diamonds. And I want to c-bet 70% of my range. So flushes, sets, and 70 divided by 23% of my range I want to be value. 2 pair over pairs. So 31%. Yeah. Because then, let's see. Nut flush draw. Second nut flush draw. Third nut flush draw. Weak flush draw. Open ender. Gut shot. I mean, I'm only c-betting about 52% of my range here. If I don't c-bet the the tens too. Middle pair. C betting the eights here too. This is I'm going to get more in depth about in terms of C betting 70% of my range. This is one thing I'm not really sure about is, I'm C betting so many value hands, but is it like a pair of tens almost becoming a bluff now? That's something I'm going to have to learn more about. I'm still very confused about that. So 10-10 here. Ten here would be so here then they would want me to check. This is gonna be like a check check check. It's something like a 10-10, which I guess I kind of get it. But here again, I'm really setting myself up to get blown off of the pot here. 10-10 is actually really tough on this particular board here. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. Now I guess what if I have a diamond? Is betting the right play? Betting is still the wrong play. But what about the turn? Yeah. It's just because I have the nut because I had the nut flush draw, where betting would have been the right play. If I have ace of diamonds and queen of clubs, then betting is the right play, and betting is the right play. So I guess because 10-10 is second pair there, I'm curious because, I want to be C betting 70% of my range, but in a 4-bet pot where my range is so small to begin with, I'm betting so much then on the flop where I really have no checking range at all. So that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, let's take a look at another hand. Let's leave the realm of aces. Let's look at hand that has some kind of action to it. All right, let's take a look at this one. So here we raise it up 3 big blinds, and we get a call. So, getting a call from a small blind is definitely a sign of a recreational player because, most players aren't calling from the small blind, especially versus a cutoff open. And excuse me. And the only time they're calling is maybe with like low pocket pairs or maybe some suited connectors. But usually they should really even be 3-betting those as well. And we go. So we go multi-way here. And we have 4 Jack 7 monotone board here. So if this goes check check, I definitely want to throw out a C-bet here. And I can throw out a half pot C-bet here. It doesn't have to be big because it's a monotone board. And that's what I do. And we get a call. And they both call, which is fine. A queen comes out. So of course I don't love this queen. The queen is, Well, let's think about it. Is there a chance that is there a possibility he has a queen here? Probably not. So he could have hands, I think, like not, any kind of pocket pair really, I think is what this type of player would have. And this player can have really many different cards. He could have just any kind of connected cards here. So let's say, for instance, he has 5-6 and he had an open ender. It's possible. Well, this is a brick for him. This is a bad card for him. And this is a bad card for him as well if he just has some kind of pocket pair. So really the queen ultimately becomes a good card for me and a card that I should be looking to double barrel here. So I want to see myself bet yet again. I don't. So I think I definitely missed an opportunity here to bet again and to take down the pot here. Now there are cards that can definitely hurt me here. Either one of these players also could have, some kind of ace as well. We always can't rule out aces. People are always calling with aces. Any kind of aces. I'm definitely not worried about two pair because I feel like two pair would have bet here in a multi-way pot. But again, I don't know that. I don't know that because if I bet here, it gives me a better idea of what these guys have. I could bet small. I don't have to bet big. I could bet small because if I bet small, for informational purposes, even, then these guys are going to fold if they have nothing. All right, the guys who have the suited cards are folding now, and there's a possibility that the guys who have 2-2 through 9-9 are going to fold here with the jack out there and the queen out there and me double barreling. So with me, and you know what, and maybe look, maybe he even calls and I get value. So I can even get value from 2-2 through 9-9 if they're going to continue to call. And I do get some folds as well. So by not betting here, the check really does nothing. What does the check do? The check does nothing. Betting accomplishes something for information. I can get value, and I can get folds and win the pot now. So betting makes a lot more sense than checking. And A5 comes out. So if A5 comes out, of course, we are in danger potentially of losing to a set. That's all we're really worried about here. The 5, of course, is much better for them than it is for me. Maybe if somebody called with ace-5, they have a pair of 5s now, they'll call a bet here. But let's take a look. We go check, check. And now I'm at the point where will I get any calls worse than a pair of jacks? Well, if I bet small, I will. If I bet small, I'm going to get hands like 6-6 to call, 8-8 to call, 9-9 to call. Hands like that will definitely call me here. Ace-5 could call me here. Ace-7, Ace-4, hands like that might have been sticking around. So, yeah, I mean, I can definitely throw out a bet here. So I am hopefully going to bet this. We'll see. Hang on one sec. I got to pause my video. So let's see what I do here. I check it. So I definitely think I missed out on an opportunity here. Ace-5. So Ace-5, I think, definitely would have called a small bet here. So we definitely lost an opportunity for value there. And Ace 8-9 suited. 8-9 suited would have folded, but we would have gotten value from this guy. So we definitely lost an opportunity there. Now you could say that, well, let's see, 8-9. Yeah, this guy, so it's interesting. I lost value either way. On the turn, right, this guy has a gut shot. He needs a 10 to get a straight. So he would have called my turn bet. I would have gotten value from him. And then on the river, we can do check, check. And I would have gotten that value. As played, I should have definitely bet the river small, and I would have gotten value from him. So I missed value two different ways. I missed value from him going for that gut shot, going for the straight on the turn, and I miss value from him on the river, going for pair of fives, which he most definitely would have called to my check. So I think that's pretty clear to see how this hand played out and what I definitely could have done differently in this hand. Check, bet, call, bet, check, fold. Let's take a look at this one. King Jack offsuit. So here we get a min bet from the middle position player, and we call. So right here, this hand was played a really long time ago. This hand was played in September when I was a complete noob at poker, pretty much losing money on America's Card Room. What the hell I was doing playing on America's Card Room at that point in my career, I have no idea. Anyway, obviously this is a horrendous call. We can't be calling King Jack offsuit ever. Do never call King Jack offsuit. Only unless you're in a big blind. It's the only time you should ever be calling King Jack offsuit. So let's see what happens here. We completely miss this flop, but it's better for us than it is for him. Now his stats here, let's just take a quick look what his range would look like here, which is here we actually had stats for him, 397 hands. He was a 27-15. So let's give him a 15% PFR range. Oops. So as you can see here, this particular flop is really bad for him. Let's see, King of Diamonds, Jack of Spades. Jack of Spades, King of Diamonds, 9 of Clubs, 4 of Clubs, 3 of Diamonds. I mean, obviously, in terms of equity, it doesn't really, our hand, it doesn't help, but our range, it does. Because our range, in case you're curious, which of course does not include King Jack. Let's see, button versus middle position. This is what our range would look like here, and you just take away the green and really the pink hands there. Not really great for our range either, actually, but at least we got the pair of nines, so it's just kind of a brick board. But in his eyes, it may be better for me than it would be for him. Best thing for him is the fact that maybe he could have, a draw. So anyway, obviously, oh, ooh. Yes, like I said, this hand was played back in September. I was only playing poker for about a month, and obviously I had no idea what I was doing. So I bet King Jack offsuit. That was really bad. This guy was c-betting 45% of his range. So what kind of hands would he have c-bet here? Oh my god. This is not good at all. C-betting 45% of his range. Set, two pair, over pair. No. Alright, hang on 1 second. I'm back. Flush draw. That's 26%, so maybe he would c-bet this here too. Alright, so let's just say he even would c-bet these particular hands here. I mean, either way, whatever. Whatever. It's just a terrible. It's terrible. This is terrible in every way. Um, yeah, he's obviously going to call this here. I mean, because I don't even know how to analyze this because it's just such a bad play. You know, he could have over pairs here, 10-10 plus. Now, sure, usually those would c bet, but he has draws too. So while a draw should c bet, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's not c betting because he's only c betting 45% of his range, which means that there's a good chance he's not c betting draws. You know, taking again look at his range here. We do have him c betting draws on this particular board, but maybe he's not. Maybe, let's see, he's got top pair. Maybe this is all he's c betting here. Maybe he's c betting his pairs plus. Pocket pairs plus on here is all he's c betting. And he's not c betting his draws. But he's definitely going to call his draws. So, anyway, this was just horrendous in every way. We know that there's no reason I should have ever bet this here. A three spades comes out. Not really useful for anybody. He checks. I hope to God I just check here. So, here's the thing though. We screwed up on the flop. Do we just continue now on the turn and bet here? And I'm back again. Okay, so yeah, I lost my train of thought. Ugh, it's annoying. I could just double barrel here, but I mean this bluff is so bad already at this point. I'm just like I'd be spewing out chips if I just keep betting here. So of course I check and I bet I fold. Yeah, I mean just do we need to even look at this hand anymore? Let's not look at this hand ever again. Can't delete this hand from my bad database. Ugh, alright. We know what we did wrong there. We can't analyze that any deeper. Let's look at this one here. King 6 suited. Raise, bet, call, check, check. Okay. So here we open raise at 2.4 big blinds from the button. It's fine. And we get a call from the big blind. And we have a flush draw here. And we have a backdoor gut shot. So if he checks here, we definitely want to bet. So he does check here, and we do decide to bet here. And he raises it. All right. Well, what's he raising with here? He looks like a reg. This is another hand played. Let's see. This game was played in February, so I'm not as noobish here. What's he raising with here? He's raising here with Jack 10. He's raising here with a flush draw. And he's raising with sets. He's got any, well, we don't think he would have a set of jacks or a set of tens, but he could have a set of sevens. I don't think he would have a set of jacks or a set of tens because he probably would have 3-bet us. But a set of sevens, definitely possible. So those are the kind of hands that are going to raise us here, we would think. There's an outside chance that maybe just a pair of jacks could also raise us here. Maybe ace jack, if he has ace jack here. That doesn't involve a well, I mean, he could definitely raise ace jack here, especially if the ace is a club. Would make a lot of sense as well. So hands, hands like that could also definitely raise us here. We get 24% pot odds. Of course, we have to call it here. We have totally enough equity. Let's take a look. I'm gonna just do this off screen. 10. So let's see. I have king of clubs and a six of clubs. And let's see. He 398 hands from the big blind. His VPIP is 30. His 3-bet is 4%. So 30. And 4%. So this is what his range would look like here. And we're going to make 10 of spades, jack of clubs, and 7 of clubs. Alright. So what's he raising with here? Straight. So he could actually have a straight also. 9-8 suited. Didn't even factor that in. He could have 9-8 suited for a straight. He's got his sets. So actually 10-10 is actually in his range here. So he's not 3-betting 10-10. Two pairs. Of course, we got the jack tens like we had mentioned. Over pairs, top pairs. So the only top pairs I think he's raising here is ace jack. Middle pairs aren't. All this other stuff's not. Flush draws. So he could be raising all of his flush draws. He's got 4% of those. He's got some open enders as well with king 9 and queen 9 and king queen. So he's got a bunch of open enders too. He's got a lot of draws here. So he'd be raising with those as well. Gut shots. I mean, he could raise with gut shots, but well, most players aren't raising with gut shots. So, all right. And we'll just include these flush draws here and open enders. So this is his range here. We have still 54% equity versus his flop raising range. And our pot odds here are 24%. So obviously it's a clear call. And ace comes out. So ace probably better for us here. Better for our range. Our equity actually goes down here. But again, we don't have range versus range up. So if we had range versus range up, I believe that our equity would go up. But obviously, if he doesn't have an ace here, he does not like this ace. Because I could very easily have an ace here. Now, our concern, of course, is going to be that he has a ace of clubs. If he has an ace of clubs, well, he's not so worried. Of course, he has a pair of aces here. And he's not worried about losing to a potential flush because if a club comes out, he wins. He's drawing to the nuts. So he's in pretty good position here. He's in very good position here. I am definitely not as in good position here because I do have to be concerned about the fact that he could have an ace of clubs. Now he could also have hit a straight as well. He's got his draws that he easily could have hit as well. He's got now lots of straights. He's got that 9-8. And he has tons. He's got 9 combos of king queen. So he has a lot of straights here in his range. He's got sets, of course, still. He's got some more 2 pairs as well. If he had raised us with ace jack, he now has 2 pair. Now, of course, he has hit top pair as well. So, and he still has his those flush draws as well. So he has us very well beat here. So what can we do? Well, he checks. Well, we got to bet here. We have to bet here, and again, I think we can bet small. Because if he has an ace, he's going to call it. Fine. If he has an ace of clubs, he's going to call it. Fine. We can go check, check on the river, even with a flush. So we bet small here. We continue. Now, he had the initiative. He raised it on us. It's interesting that he would check, because he just gave us back the initiative. Do we overbet here? I don't think checking is the right play. Checking again will not accomplish anything. But again, he raised. I think if he raises with his non-nut flush draws here, we can get him to fold. He'll fold his queen 10, 10 9, 10 8. Will he? I don't think he will. I don't think he's folding 10 9 or 10 8 of clubs, and I don't think he's folding queen 10 of clubs. Queen 10 of clubs still has a gut shot. I don't think he's folding that. 10 9 of clubs, that has a gut shot. He's not folding that. 10 8 of clubs has a gut shot. He's not folding that because he has a gut shot and he can hit the flush on the river. The only thing we're getting him to fold here is 5 4 of clubs. So, knowing this, maybe check back is the best play here. He's not folding much at all. He's not folding his sets. He's not folding his two pairs. He'll fold queen 9 off, he'll fold. King 9 off, he'll fold. He's got plenty of those combos that he'll fold. But he's just going to be folding worse hands. He's never going to be folding better hands here. We're definitely in a tough spot here because this hand at this point is almost impossible for us to win. So that ace really was a really bad card for us, actually. This hand becomes really impossible for us to win. We need to have a flush. We need to have a flush and him not have the ace of clubs to win this hand. So we're just not going to get him to fold. Meaning that a bet here would not be the right play and the check would be the right play. And I'm going to throw this one in Snowy. I'll be curious about this one. So yeah, check's the right play. And a 4 comes out. Complete brick for everybody. So we obviously would fold any bet. Or check here. Let's see, what do you had? He had 10-9 offsuit, which is interesting. But 10-9 offsuit Would it have folded here? No, because it had the gut shot. Good chance it wouldn't have folded. I would have bet small and it wouldn't have folded. Maybe it would have. I don't know. It's possible. Oh, maybe to an overbet it would have folded, but not to. I don't think to an underbet. I think that's the best we could have done here. And also, let's also keep something else in mind: the fact that we did not have the initiative after the flop. We did not have the initiative. Um, by the way, interesting check raise by him with the 10-9. He raised with second pair and a gut shot, so it was kind of interesting. Um, I want to throw this in Snowy because I want to see if they agree with me not raising the river here. Raising the turn. This was King 6. Interesting hand for a King 6 hand. I guess they're all interesting when you really break them all down. Let's take a look. Import. So, through what I just did, I believe I played this hand 100% correctly. And I guess Snowy does too because I had no blunders here. Whoops. Okay. So flop, bet, of course. It says bet, check, same thing. Same EV. I'm definitely going to bet this board here. Definitely a C bet here. He raises, and definitely they agree. So raising here, by the way, was not the right move for him, of course. But calling here, definitely the correct play for me. And he checks, and I check back, which is the correct play. I could have checked, or I could have bet here. Same EV actually, but a small bet. So they're looking for a small bet here. Half pot bet. Half pot bet is actually a higher EV. So really, I could have done either or. I could have checked, or I could have bet here. I mean, it's interesting, right? So I guess, I mean, anything could have happened here. I could have bet here. We don't know what he would have done if he would have called this bet or not with the ace coming out. He may have folded with the ace coming out. I would have double barreled here. Maybe he doesn't call a double barrel with a 10. So I think that's interesting. And of course, check. And this is interesting. They want me to bet and not check here. I don't know about that. Obviously, Snowy agrees with my check. The check was plus EV too because, he could have bricked as well and my king could be okay. But let's see. Let's go here. Let's copy the scenario. I want to copy the scenario up until this check. Okay. Let me bet here. Let's bet here. Half pot. And let's say now he calls. It's saying, by the way, that the optimal play for him would be to fold here. And maybe we could have gotten him to fold there. All right, so now last card was a 4 of spades. So we'll say he'll check. It's saying I should check back here. Most of the time, I want to check back here. 97% of the time I should be checking back here. Only 3% of the time I should be betting. And then check and just go to showdown with my king. Interesting. This hand can just be played so many different ways. It's really interesting because the amount of outs that he had. I mean, again, well, look, I mean, so obviously I didn't have 10-9 offsuit in his range, but okay, if I bet that if I bet that turn, I am getting a better hand to fold. I am getting his potentially getting his jacks, any jack he has. You know, let's say he had king jack, no clubs. Okay, if he had king jack offsuit, maybe he would fold when that ace comes out. Maybe any 10 he has will fold when that ace comes out, and I bet at a double barrel. So, okay, there are hands that I can bet. So, we can bet here. And then we could always just check river. We can give up on the river. And we bet small on the turn. And then we just check on the river. And if he's got a, if he called it and he's got a pair, he's got his beast. But I guess, yeah, we can actually make a better hand fold here. So, yeah, all right. I kind of like it. Let's take a look at one more hand. We have a little bit over 20 minutes left. Let's take a look at a pocket. I want to take a look at a hand like pocket nines. Let's take a look at this one here that we lost big on. Call, bet, check, call. Yeah, this looks like a good one to check out. Let's take a look at this one. This one should be an interesting hand. This hand was played at fast fold. I'm sorry, not fast fold. This is played at 50 NL. One second, I'm just clearing out Flopzilla. Okay. So we get an open raise here from the middle position. We call it. And we go 4 ways. Okay. So we have 4 ways here. Pair of nines. Let's see what happens here. This is tough because the small blind called here. Does anybody have... Well, let's just say, okay, first of all, this guy was the open raiser. So he does not have a flush. If he had a flush, he would have bet. He doesn't have a set of 10s. He doesn't have a set of 2s. He doesn't have a set of 5s. He would have bet. He doesn't have an overpair. Ace, ace, king, king, queen, queen, jack, jack. They would have bet. So he's capped. He is capped, and there's a good chance that he completely missed this flop. These two guys can check. Looking to check raise. I don't mind the bet here because a bet could win this pot right now. And if not, at least the good thing is a bet eliminate will take out some players. So I'd like to see a bet here. And I do. Good. And a hip hop bet is fine. We get a call from the small blind. Small blind. If the small blind had a flush here, he's short stacked. He's going all in. So he doesn't have a flush. And the other two guys fold. And a king comes out now. So a king, well, what's he calling with here? He's small blind. We can take over pairs out of his range. Ace 10 could be betting there. Doesn't really have any two pairs. Could have ace 5, ace 2, ace 10. We can all say maybe you could have those kind of hands. 3-4 suited of a different suit. Open ender. Possible. Hands like that. Gut shots. Ace 3, ace 4. Could have hands like that. So the king. Now he could have king 10, of course, as well. He could have gotten two pair now. Not too worried about this king here. So if he checks to me, definitely a double barrel is warranted here. Double barrel will get his draws to fold. You know, there are so many draws we don't want to see these cards come out. We don't want to see an ace come out. Hands like that, we don't want to give them a free card here. A bet would definitely be the correct play here. But as we know, we check it. And that I don't like. Because what also have we done here by checking? Well, we have told him now we do not have a flush. We don't have two pair. We don't have a set. We don't have a king. Maybe we have a 10 that bet on the flop. That's it. We have now told him that we have got a 10, a pair of 10s, or worse here. That's what not betting has done. Similar to the first hand I looked at, this has now completely capped our range, which is why we need to double barrel here, even a small bet. An 8 comes out. Of course, an 8 is going to be great for his range. Now he could have a pair of 8s, which could be good for us as well, because we can win the hand here now if he does have a pair of 8s. Off shot, of course, that he had, you know, has 10-8 suited, which he could have something like that. And maybe a player, like he's a recreational player, he could call with something like that, of course. Could have been calling with a pair of 8s here, and now he has a set. He bets into us here, half pot. Definitely got to be concerned about a set of 8s. Two pair with 10-8. Got to be concerned about that. King 8 suited. Maybe King 8 suited calls here. But we don't think so, because we don't think that recreational player is going to check with a king. But I'm definitely concerned about 10-8. And definitely concerned about a set here. There are no draws. No draws are filled out here, so we're okay with that. Now, unfortunately, we have to definitely call this here. I don't think there's any way we can fold this. I think with 20, and I'll take a look, 25% pot odds. I think we have to call here, even with third pair. But I'll take a look. I do call it. And he actually has king 10. So, obviously with the king 10, he would not have folded the turn. But I still think we need to bet that turn, because maybe he would. Maybe he would fold it. It would be a bad fold for him. But maybe he would fold it with me thinking I have a flush. Either way, I need to bet there. If he raises it, great, I can fold. The bet would be the best play there. not the check. Um, and I'm getting really great. I'm really getting really great pot odds there. Let's just throw this into Flopzilla real quick. And throw into Flopzilla real quick, then throw into Snowy real quick, and then we will wrap this up. So 9 of hearts and 9 of spades. And let's say we got to give him some kind of range here. And that's kind of tough in a small blind, especially with no stats. And what does a small... So let's just say he's a recreational player. He'll call with any broadways, any pocket pairs, and let's just give him a big range because he's a recreational player. So he's probably calling way too many hands. Okay, so this is the range we'll give him. But we'll say he would 3-bet at least those standard cards like these. We'll give him 3 bets on those. Okay. Let's do ace queen also. And then on the flop we have 10 of spades, 2 of spades, and 5 of spades. Okay. And he's a recreational player. We bet, he calls. Straight flush, flush. We're not going to give him a raising range just because, it's kind of difficult to say what a raising range looks like for a tape. I mean, well, that's not true. Okay, we did say he was capped. Okay, let's say he's capped. Okay, he would definitely raise a flush, and he would definitely raise a set. All right, so let's just say he would. Okay, so we've capped him there. No, we don't want to cap him. I'm sorry, because we had said originally that he would check call those hands. We don't think that he would. We don't think that he would call them, but maybe he will. Over pair, top pair, pocket pair below top pair. Let's say he's just calling way too many hands here. Middle pair. We won't give him weak pairs and all this stuff, and we'll give him all these flush draws and all these other cool draws, and we'll give him a gut shot too. 71% of his hands. Seems about right. We have 53% equity. The turn was a king of hearts. And again, he's going to check 100% of his range here, possibly. And we have 45% equity. I just want to see again about the river bet. So, river bet. He leads out. What's he leading out with? Well, flush, straight, set, 2 pair. Let's just for giggles say top pair 2 and just eliminate everything else. Whoops, I kind of screwed this up. Hang on. I didn't put it in the card. 8 of clubs. Alright. Straight flush, flush, straight, set, 2 pair, over pair, top pair. Well, you do the math. Equity is 0%. So we got to fold this. When the equity is 0%, it's probably a pretty good idea to fold. We did not do that. So that was a mistake. I called that bet. Bad job by me. And really, again, I think the check was a bad job on the turn. Did not get any information here about him. Maybe slight chance I could have taken it down. I don't know if I could have, but at least I would have gotten some information on it. Let's just take a quick look at Snowy here, and then we'll call it a, if this works. And then we'll call it a study session, and I'm going to get ready to play some poker after I just have a quick bite to eat. Nope, did not work. Let's just throw up a quick scenario real quick. I don't know why sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Stack sizes are relevant here. This was played at NL50. Do we have NL50 on here? We do, great. That makes life a little bit easier at least. That makes it a little bit easier at least. So at least I can get the stack sizes correct. Let me just change this. So 106.85, because this was multi-way too. So 78.75, 50.07, 20.31. Wait a minute. Why do I have 20.31? Huh. I think this was during. All right. Yeah, you know this hand. This hand was played. I didn't have a lot of money left on the site, and I was pretty tilted. Yeah, I was pretty tilted, and so I was just trying to win it all back on NL50 short stacked. Yeah, that was the case. That's what happened here with this particular hand. Now that I know, I realize what the hell happened here. Like, this is why I'm completely short stacked here. So we know I'm not playing my best poker. Plus, I've learned how to play these situations since this. So, all right. It's really funny, actually. I didn't even think about this. That I came into this hand with 40 big blinds. I wonder if you guys noticed it. All right, so let's do this here. So we get a fold. And we get a raise of $1.50. Of course, I'm supposed to call. And we get a fold here. And we get a call here. And we get a call here. And the flop is 10 of spades, 2 of spades, and 5 of spades. Oh, whoops, I screwed up. 10 of spades, 5 of spades, 2 of spades, in no particular order. Okay, so we get a check. And we get a check. And we get a check. And I did this correctly here. I bet. That was the right play. And I bet half pot. $3. So that's good. That's a good thing. And we get a call. And we get 2 folds. Fold, fold. River. Turn. King of hearts. He checks. And it does want me to check back. I could bet 2, but checking is higher EV. You know, I also can improve to a flush as well. All right, so A reason maybe not to bet is that my hand didn't improve, but I still feel like betting. Bet small here. Let's see, if I bet small, okay. So betting half pot, but a underbet here is a higher EV than a. Still checking is the highest EV play, but the underbet here is okay too. So just let's say I throw out an underbet, and well, two things can happen here. If he raises, I can easily fold out of his hand because I could say he's got two pair better. I can fold, and if he calls, I could just check then on the, if he checks to me, then I could just check the river. So let's look at this scenario first. He calls. Well, I mean, I feel like we know what's going to happen here. He calls. And 8 of clubs comes out. He checks. I'm going to check too. .71 pot. I could check or bet, but checking is usually going to be the right play here. Let's take it to showdown. I can win with a pair of nines. So, but let's look at it. Let's look at something else. We bet here. We'll bet. He raises. Now we got to fold. Easy. It's an easy play. It's an easy play. So the underbet here makes a lot of sense. He raises, we fold. If not, river, we go check, check. And one more scenario. We bet. He calls. 8 of clubs comes out. He donks. Half pot. I fold. Easy. Easy. Super easy. Super easy to figure out. This is why, again, checking is not the right play. This is why checking is not the right play. Because when we check on the turn there, A, we've lost our initiative. B, we now have no information. Checking is the wrong play. Okay, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. It was a long video, 2-hour video. But I really appreciate it. So do me a favor, if you like what you saw, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Leave any feedback if you like this video. I really enjoyed studying in this way. And until next time, Poker Dad.